if you had to create a human, what would you put them through to make them tough? It probably wouldn't be a really chill life.
Yeah.
What would you put them through to make them patient? You probably wouldn't give them things immediately. And so it's like, we want these traits, but each of the traits has a price tag attached to it. And it's just like, do you want to pay the price tag to get the thing? And so I think if people reframe the period of life that they're going through as the price that they're paying out of their wallet, but the wallet is their time, it's the seconds of life that they're trading for it, then I think more people will be willing to make the trade. Because at least when I look at myself, like when I'm 80 something years old and I'm looking back on my life, I want to have these traits. But in order to have those traits, I know I have to go through these things. And I think for me, that's given me a lot of comfort in hard times.
This drive and passion, and it may come from nothing. Like for me, there was no passion, no drive, no nothing. But I had this fire that I'm going to be somebody. And it has to be there, because on all those bad days and all those days you don't want to do shit, you have to be your own motivator, your own coach, your own trainer, your own everything. So to do that, you have to come into work, and work is, whatever your work may be, ready to go. And what that means is you may have failed miserably yesterday, but you come to work like, people like, man, you just lost everything. How the hell are you just fucking damn motivated? Because this is what it takes.
This is giving me motivation to still work hard and better in my job. But I have to say, to be in my shoes is not easy. But I'm not complaining. I just want to say that I'm feel happy. All this happened because of reason. The reason is I'm unbelievable inside the pitch. This is why the people have so much interest on me.
Are you the best footballer in the world right now?
I think so, yes. In my mind, I'm always the best. I don't care what the people thinking, what they say. In my mind, not just this year, but always, I'm always the best.
Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? In other words, if you don't get what you thought you was going to get, will you still be the same individual? If the situation don't turn out the way you thought it would turn out, will you still be the same individual? The quote says it. You judge the character of a man not by where he stands in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the character of a man by where he stands in times of challenge and controversy. Like, I don't care what a cat do when everything goes right. I don't. Because everybody knows to smile. Everybody gonna celebrate when you win a game. Everybody gonna be in your corner and talking about how great you are.
Just kept on with it. I just kept the faith. I kept believing. I kept asking. I kept wanting. God got great life for you, man. But you're gonna have to ask for it. And when you ask for it, you're gonna have to believe it. After you believe it, you gotta put your work in. Now, if you don't want to do the work that it takes to be successful, this man with his success, if you knew how hard he worked, if you knew the hours he put in, the hours his daddy put in, if you knew what it really took, it's daunting. It's days, man, where you go, whoa, what is this I'm trying to do?
Don't stare at them. Listen to me. You don't get bulked by staring at weight. You don't get bulked look, you don't get healthier by staring at it. You get healthier by running up to it and grabbing it and pushing it. Look, push through that stuff. Push through it. You can get through it. He said he won't put on you more than you can bear. You can get through it. So I need you to work while you wait. I need you to work. Look, work on your focus, perspective. I need you to see difficult differently. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? I wish I could tell you that if you just keep going, it's going to get lighter. The weight is going to get light. I wish I could tell you that, but that's not the truth. The truth is you got to find something within. You got to find something within, and that's got to push you, and that's got to elevate you, and that's got to drive you, and that's got to move you. And when you find out what your why is, and your why got to be deeper than you. When you find your why, you don't hit snooze no more. When you find your why, you find a way to make it happen. So let me just say this to you. If it was easy, boo, everybody would win the Rose Bowl. If it was easy, boo, everybody would be a national champion. Everybody would be a millionaire or a billionaire. If it was easy.
Why do I think people are drawn to advice telling them to do hard things? Because I think any person, any human realizes that if you want some kind of a good outcome, you're going to have to work hard for it. And if you don't work hard for something, you're not going to get an outcome that's really worth much.
I used to define power by the distance between thoughts and reality. Meaning, if you think about somebody who's omnipotent, so if God or the God figure would be omnipotent as he thinks things are. So there's zero space between thoughts and reality. And so if we want to be more God-like in our lives, the distance that we can shrink between wanting to do something or thinking something should be done and it being done is a direct indication of our personal power in our lives. And so that has helped me basically think, don't be a powerless bitch. Like, just shrink the gap. And I think that's why a lot of my little like personal hacks of waking up and then trying to shrink the time between when I wake up and when I start working, and shrinking the time between one task and the next task. Like, you don't need to take 30 minutes of getting ready to start working. Like, you can just start working, because as soon as you get into it, you start pulling the thread and you're like, oh, here it is. And all of the time that I was getting ready to work, I was just using up my best brain power time on things that truly don't move the needle at all.
If you will change, everything will change for you. You don't have to change what's outside. All you've got to change is what's inside. To have more, you simply have to become more. And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Start working on yourself, making these personal changes. And he said, it'll all change for you.
Listen, third day, go back to the gym, work, because you have more to show. You understand? Life continue. You cannot live in the past. I'm really good on that, you understand? I learned by the years that, listen, Cristiano, let's go. Because pain, you're gonna have all the time, uncertainty and constant work. It doesn't matter what's happening. It's gonna happen in your life, you have to continue. This is the way I see the life.
If you don't know what you're doing, aim at something. Is it the right thing? No. But it's better than just shooting randomly. So you aim at something, and then as you aim and you move towards it, you're going to find out why you're wrong. And then you might recalibrate your aim. And that's going to happen over and over, because as you move towards a goal, it recedes or it broadens, or it recedes and broadens, and otherwise you'd run out of things to do.
It will be more difficult. It will require more effort on your part. But you know what I can tell you about that? When you do the hard things, you will have a happy and easy life. But if you constantly choose to take the path of easy and negotiate and compromise, you will have a hard life.
I always knew the answer to everything is raw action.
Yeah.
The answer to everything has always been raw action. My dad had a tweet about this. He said that raw action solves all. And he used to say this. I'll give you an example. If you're a farmer and you need rain for your crop and there's no rain, you can sit there and say there's no rain, we're all going to starve. Or you can stand up and do a rain dance. Now, will your rain dance work? Perhaps not. Perhaps the rain won't come. But I would argue that you're better off standing up doing that rain dance than just sitting there waiting to die. You have to do something. Raw action solves. So when I was broke, I was never like, I'm poor, what do I do? It was, I'm poor, I have to do something. If I was broke, I'd go for a run. That's why I was such a great fighter. If I was broke, I'd sit there and go, I'm actually poor. How do I make money? Dunno. Where can I get some cash? Dunno. What work can I do? Dunno. I'll just go for a run then. And I'd just go for 3-mile run.
There's lots of people that work really hard digging ditches every day and that are digging ditches when they're 70 years old. There's lots of people who work really, really hard for a long time and never make it. And that's because working hard is just part of the puzzle. The other part of the puzzle is how high your skill set is, how developed your skill set is. And so we have these people that say these things like, work smart, not hard, all right? Well, you're a fucking moron, because it takes both.
Because when you do hard things, you then are fortified and reinforced for the inevitable hardship that life is. Because all of life is hardship with brief moments of bliss, my friend. And if you have created a zone of comfort in a world of hardship, you become unstoppable. You become the fucking virus against the virus. I was like, hey, we are not going to wait for some PPP program, some SBA loan. We are going to start attacking this virus. We're no longer going to be reactive. We're going to attack. we're going to attack. So myself, my leadership team, and my entire team here at the building, we decided that we are going to be the pandemic against the pandemic. And it is then when we started to turn the ship. It is then when we started to add more locations. It is then when we started to rebuild our brand. And it is bigger, stronger, more resilient today than ever before. You must adopt that mindset. You will not be the victim in life.
Whether you make up this illusion of your life or this false reality that gets you motivated, whatever gets you motivated, it's got to be here at the tip of your brain at all times. Because in those dark moments, you got to pull it out. So that's the big thing for me, man. I was always fired up at all times.
And so in thinking about that, rather than pain as a problem, it is a signal that I'm breathing.
There are so many people working so hard and achieving so little. And that's the lack of correlation between inputs and outcomes.
Yeah. I think the vast majority of business owners, I come from the business perspective, the vast majority of business owners work a fair amount. They just work on the wrong stuff and they do it the wrong way. And so they get so little for their effort that they wonder when they're at home empty-handed in bed, why isn't this working when I am working? But if you define work, at least the way I do, which is output. So I define work by output. And in order to get output, it's volume times leverage. So how many times you do the thing times how much you get for each time you do it. And so that is do you work smart or do you work hard? It's you do both. You do as many reps as you possibly can, and you do it with the most leverage possible. So if I make 100 phone calls, the leverage that I can have there would be how skilled I am. So if I make 100 calls, I might get 10 times more. And so I worked more. I had more output than somebody who has less skill. But
my message needs to be in a way where I can hit all 25 people. It needs to be broad enough to where all 25 people may not like the message, but they're getting something from it. And that is evolution. You must continue to evolve. And you don't evolve, for me, in my job, unless I cap myself somewhere and say, okay, you made this much money, get back to fucking work. It's time to get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk, get off the podcast, don't be on social media too much, cut out all the fucking noise, get back to the fucking mental lab. Because that's where the knowledge came from.
Nobody cares. No one you vote for is going to change it. It's going to get worse. It's going to continue. And you know the boat is going to sink and you're not panicking. That's why I kind of catch myself. And one of the things I try very hard not to do is become elitist. Because when you've come from the absolute bottom to the absolute top and you've done it all off of your own back and hard work and dedication and never missing a day, the only shortcut to life is to never miss a day. One, because of compounding interest, and two, because sometimes you get lucky. And you'll never miss a lucky day if you try every day. If you don't try every day, you might miss your lucky day.
At one time or another, believe that you can be great at that. And then you work to get great at that.
To be successful at anything, the truth is you don't have to be special. You just have to be what most people aren't. Consistent, determined, and willing to work for it. No shortcuts. If you look at all my teammates here tonight, it would be impossible to find better examples of men who embody that work ethic, purpose, determination, and discipline that it takes to be a champion in life.
You can't change what you can't change. Stop trying to change the situation. It's not yours to change. Stop trying to change your wife. Stop trying to change your husband. Stop trying to change your kids. Stop trying to change your boss. Stop trying to change the program. If you could change it, it would be changed. There's only one person you can change, baby, and that person's hard, and that person is you. Work on yourself. Because watch what's going to happen. One day, E.T. going to wake up. Yup, and he ain't gonna be homeless no more. Yup, one day E.T. gonna wake up and he ain't gonna be no high school dropout no more. Yup, one day I'm gonna wake up and be exactly where I wanna be. But the question is, when you so focused on change, you so focused on change that what you don't get is that once things change for you, if you don't change, you're gonna take it back to what it was anyway. Are you hearing me? So you better, what you can work on is you. And so you better get you together. You better work on you and get you right.
I think the more, at least for me, the more I've tried to create space between how I feel and what I do, the more consistent my outcomes have been.
What do you mean?
So if I need to create content and I'm not feeling it, or I'm feeling tired, or things like that, the more times I give into that excuse or that feeling, then the more superstitious I become about doing it in the future. Whereas a lot of times, if I can just start when I am tired or when something is painful and then still execute about the same as before, I look at game tape or I look at video or I look at the content from those sessions, for example, and I see that I remember feeling terrible during the session, but you can't really see anything. And I think the more times you get that loop going, the more you can separate how you feel and what is required. And the more times you do what is required to get what you want, the more times you get what you want.
All week you was work hard. End of the week, if you don't tire it, this is good question. You have to worry about this. But this is Saturday. Your 6th day, you work so hard. Of course you're gonna tire it. Tomorrow rest, and Monday we're gonna begin one more training. If you don't want, go back to Dagestan and stay with your mom. She's gonna give you every day good breakfast. You don't do nothing. Stay there. But if you come here, don't complain. You wanna become best. You wanna become champion. And now you wanna say like you're tired. Who cares? You're tired. Nobody cares about you. Even you, if you're gonna watch fight, you just watch fight. They walk out inside the cage, they fight, and they leave. You don't know what happened behind the scenes. This is not your business. Nobody cares about this.
Yeah. You know, the stuff that I say is in the Bible. The stuff that I say is in Stoicism. And Jordan Peterson, you know, says the stuff that I say, or I say the stuff that he says. Again, I'm not trying to compete with Jordan Peterson on any level, especially some kind of an intellectual level, but we have similar thoughts about things, and that predated either one of us knowing who each other were.
And that's what people don't understand. If you never miss a day and you never don't try and you're always on time, was I late today? No, on time. And you try and improve every aspect of your life, and you're a professional, and you try and make sure that you analyze your decisions, you give yourself feedback, you don't make mistakes, you're not lazy. If you try and you make it to the top, you end up elitist, because you look at the people down below and you're like, well, why didn't you try? I did. Oh, I did too. No, you didn't. That's a lie. Now you're lying to me, and that annoys me.
Listen to me, more money. Listen to me, better relationships. Listen to me, a better life. Woo! That moment, if you want this moment for the rest of your life, like if you ready to take your game to the next level, and whatever it is, sports, life, business, whatever it is, health, listen to me very closely. You gotta change that mindset. So I told you, my boy Shannon Austin said something deep to me. He said, E.T., I told my son, forget what your coach said. We're not just taking 100 shots. Woo! He said, look, I told my son, we're not taking 100 shots, we making 100 shots. That's mindset. That's mindset. That's the difference between the average and the good and the great and the phenomenal. Is their mindset.
You figure that out along the way. Just get involved. Stay moving forward. Don't be stagnant.
I wish I could tell you something else. I wish I could tell you you tired, go take a break. I wish I could tell you tired, rest for a year. I wish I could tell you that it's gonna get easier. I wish I could tell you it's gonna get easier.
I have to continue to reinvent the wheel of the mind and figure out more and more ways for you to pull. Because if I have a cookie cutter message, it may hit 5 people out of 25. You just failed. My message needs to be in a way where I can hit all 25 people. It needs to be broad enough to where all 25 people may not like the message, but they're getting something from it. And that is evolution. You must continue to evolve. And you don't evolve, for me, in my job, unless I cap myself somewhere and say, okay, you made this much money, get back to fucking work. It's time to get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk. Get off the podcast. Don't be on social media too much. Cut out all the fucking noise. Get back to the fucking mental lab, because that's where the knowledge came from.
Don't allow that pond just to sit there in your backyard, you know, with no movement. What is that pond? That's stagnant water. What grows in stagnant water? Algae and shit. Mosquitoes come infesting that shit.
No one wants to come to your house and look at that shit. It smells like ass to get bitten. You know, that's a bad day. You know, put a sprinkler on that motherfucker. Get some flow in that thing so it smells good, looks good. It's a visual oasis, soothing to the ear and the eye. Now it's a good pond. I know it sounds like whatever, but that is it. That's life. That's someone who believes in themselves or who doesn't believe in themselves.
How about you plan what you're going to do in the day? How about you bring your lunch to work with you so you don't have to eat a slice of pizza or a damn burger and fries? How about you change what time you get to work by showing up 10 minutes earlier? And you square your gear away, or you dial in your tools, or your desk, or your workspace. That's what you need to do. You make those little changes, those little habits that you have to change them, those bad habits. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. The little things, the little changes, they add up and they become big things.
So you're always fighting that motherfucker. Even though you beat it, you never truly beat it. So when they get on stage and they're talking to Joe Rogan, it's not even real. It's not even real. All those mornings that you didn't want to fucking get up, and I look at it as like a rock, and you find this fucking rock, and that rock is you. And every day you fucking fight not wanting to get up, and you do anyway. You chip another piece off that fucking rock, and every day you fucking eat the right foods, and every day you go to train, you train harder and harder and harder and harder, and you get up earlier, and all these things you do to start forming yourself. You're chipping another fucking piece of that rock off. Before you know it,
you stuck. You cannot move forward. You heard me tell the story with the lion and gazelle. You still stuck. You're a gazelle. You are a gazelle. You need something to motivate you. What happens to the gazelle when the lion ain't chasing him? Well, what happens is nothing. He stops running. Why? Because he always needs something external to motivate him. Now, I'm going to show you this right quick. I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to get you out of here. I told you the story, but now I got to visually show it. You see, this is where I work. This is where I grind. This is where I work. This is why I grind. This is why I work. This is why I grind. This is why I hustle. When it's over, when they're tired, when they're frustrated, when they're ready to give up.
You know, trained hard. Because it's what I do, it's what I enjoy, I love it. You take that away from me, you may as well just handicap me completely.
Do you have to do it as well?
No, I don't have to, but I love it. I don't understand why any man would not want to go to the gym and train. I don't get that.
To feel better?
You feel good, yeah. You feel fantastic. Best feeling in the world is when you've done a good training session and you're finished and you're going for a shower and a breakfast. Best time of the day as well, early in the morning for me.
I've always been a maximizer. So I've actually not really been an optimizer in my life. It's just like, as soon as I have an input-output equation where it's like, N equals X, and it's like, and if I want 10X, I do 10N, I'm like, great, then can we do 1000N? Like, I just want to do as much of that as I humanly possible.
Come on, you got to hear what I'm telling you. He said you got to be intentional and deliberate about money stuff. You got to create a product that people need, and you got to give it to them regularly. Like, thank God on Monday for the last 8 years, you just got to keep giving it to them. And the first year, nothing. The second year, nothing. The third year, a little something. The fourth year, a little bit more. By the fifth year, boom, you're a household name. You got to be intentional and deliberate, whether you're making money or not making money. You got to decide that you're going to do something, and you got to do it every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday. The problem with some of you in this room, you're not intentional and deliberate. You're a good person that just hopes the good stuff is going to happen to you.
So I'm here to tell you that if you live a no-compromise life, if you become unreasonable in your expectations, find a group of fighter jets to belong to and no more fucking crop dusters.
But when we... Like, I love competitors who like optimizing because I always see it as a weakness because it's so easy to exploit. It's like, oh, you need your 8 hours of sleep, or you need your morning routine, or if you don't have your supplements, you're just totally fucked. Or like, I didn't have my coffee this morning, so I can't function. Like, I love to compete against people like that because they're so easy to break.
It's fragile.
Yeah. And so what happens is,
I'm fine with the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm fine being flawed. I'm fine with all the things that have happened to me that have been exposed. I'm fine with it all. I don't hide from it. I don't run from it. I don't avoid any of it. I'm fine. It's all right. It's a bed that I made for myself. I happily lay in it. And I'll be fine figuring it out, moving forward. Sun don't stop for nobody, man. Sun don't stop. Sun gonna be up in the morning regardless. That sun is going to be up in the morning regardless of how I feel and how depressed I am, the sun is gonna shine in the morning.
When you have something you want to do, if you don't develop the courage to do that which has been given you to do, and you spend a lot of time going around trying to convince other people or trying to get their approval, what will happen is that you will lose your nerve. And other people will convince you that what you're doing doesn't have any value, and you'll give up on your dream. It's an interesting thing about life, I've also found, that if you don't have the courage to act, sometimes and particularly, if you have something special to do, life will move on you.
I don't know one single self-made multimillionaire that literally didn't work hard. So like, if you're like, I don't want to work hard, you know, I get like the Tim Ferriss, the 4-hour work week, I get that. I don't know very many people that pull that off. I'm just going to be honest. And by the way, if you want to build something big, okay, there's a lot of people that don't, they're not psycho competitors like me. They don't want to build $100, $200, $300 million business. I get it. Maybe there's a way, you know, where you don't have to work hard. I will tell you, 95% of the world doesn't get to where they want to go because their work ethic is pure dog.
A lot of entrepreneurship and even personal growth is training yourself on how you respond to hard. Because in the early days, hard was, ooh, stop. This isn't good. I should, this is a warning sign. This is a red flag. I should slow down, or I should stop, you know, I should pivot. The more I think about it as a competitive landscape, as I'm clear on what this path is supposed to look like, and these rocks and these dragons are things that I'm going to have to slay along the way to get the princess or get the treasure, I get happier about the harder it is because I know that no one else will follow.
It's a selection effect.
And I think if you can shift from this is hard to no one else will be able to do this, then it flips from being this thing that you're like, oh, poor me, to oh, poor everyone else who's going to have to fucking try.
Yeah.
And I think that is so much more motivating as a frame for the exact same circumstance.
We have to like reframe our thinking about these statements. It's not just hard work and it's not just smart work. It's both. And if you lack both, you're going to be paid very little. And if you have both, you're eventually going to be able to write your own check in life for where you want to go.
Once you get over that, it's over. Like, it's over. What, like, it's that all that is gonna come. Like, that's something I learned. Like, that shit is always gonna be there. Yeah. So like, the grind is really what's gonna be hard though, because everybody get comfortable. Everybody be doing this. Everybody be doing that. And the way I be thinking is that if I'm taking any breaks, there's somebody out there right now that's literally grinding his ass off and is gonna blow up anytime now. And he or she is dead ass like working her or his ass off. And I always think like that, or I always think of like, okay, how's my ground coming up? Like, you can't get comfortable with shit unless like shit really lit. Like when after the summertime in March, I'm taking a nice break. I'm taking a, bro. That's gonna, I'm gonna be happy. Like that's the only break I'm gonna, and I'm gonna come right back.
And what usually comes out of those conversations from the old people is, oh man, you know, you can work as hard as you want, but the system's still gonna be the system, and you're not gonna get ahead. They don't care about you. Blah 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 blah. And the reality is those people probably gave it their all for a little bit, 5-10 years maybe, but they didn't work on developing their skill set. They weren't intentional about becoming better. They believe that if they just show up and they give it their effort, that eventually things will materialize. And when those things don't materialize, they get bitter and they get pissed off and they start blaming other people.
Talent and skill set might betray you along the journey if they don't have a consistency of mindset and they don't have a certain level of fortitude in every fiber of their being. At a certain point, you can have a cat that's talented, or you can have a cat that has character and you know what he's bringing to the table every single day. Right? You got cats that's talented that tap out. Like anybody can go 1 or 2 downs. Right? Anybody can go 3 downs. But it's very seldom that you find a cat when he's standing in that tunnel till it's 4 zeros on that clock, he's gonna give you everything. That's a man to me, right? Most cats, little boy, right? They get what they want. I tell my son all the time, I'm like, Ink, it's a big difference between a hard worker and somebody that works hard, right? Most cats are somebody that works hard. If the situation and the circumstance is what they want it to be, they're gonna come out and they're gonna act accordingly and they're gonna give you everything they got. But a hard worker, regardless of situation, regardless of circumstance, regardless of what happened, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna give everything I got to it because I'm working for something that's totally different. Every day I put in the grind rewarded. So don't you ever think for 1 second that if you put in the work, you're not gonna get the reward. You're gonna put it in, but you gotta do me a favor. When I come out here and look at this crowd, Eric didn't get this crowd in 5 years. He's been doing this for 30 years. 30 years is what it takes to get this. And you looking to get this in 5 months. It don't work like that. So listen to me very closely. I love you. I just came to be an example to show you that you can get it done. That anything is possible. I'm just a living example that anything is possible. If you put your mind to it, you can do whatever you want. You can have whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. You can write your own narrative. You can die on your terms.
When I showed up to Laird's the first time, I couldn't do one push-up. Come on. Swear to you, could not do one push-up. And with his support, I worked up to being able to do 100 consecutive push-ups, which was mind-blowing. So what changed between the weight loss and meeting Laird was I now see anything is possible and that you could train for anything. There's nothing you can't do. You can be a lot better than you are at anything you want to put the time into learning.
It's okay to be unbalanced for a while. It's okay. Don't be all this stuff people say, you got to be balanced. To be the best in the world at what you do. It's not about being a Navy SEAL, people. The best at what you do, you have to be unbalanced to find every bit of fucking energy and strength that you have to pull it off. Then you get balanced once you become great. So if your family doesn't understand, why are you so daggone crazy? Because I'm trying to be the best I can to give you the best that I am.
When they spent their last dime, that's when they get started. Are you hearing me? It's when you have nothing left. It's when you depleted all your money, when all your energy gone, when you have nothing left, that's when it's showtime. When you find a way out of no way, when you find breath that you don't have, when you find energy that did not exist, when you want this thing as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you find a way. Work while you wait. Yup, I said it. For real, for real. You don't know how long it's going to take. Right? But if you stop now, if you quit now, the one thing I can tell you is for certain it's never going to happen. So the first thing I need you to do is you cannot stop. All right, rest if you must, but you cannot stop and question life. Like you cannot stop and question your circumstance and situation so much so that while you could be working, while you could be further along the road less traveled, you sitting there contemplating, like you're sitting there moaning about it. You're sitting there complaining about it. And I get it. I'm not minimizing your struggle. I get it. I understand. But you gotta work. You gotta work. What happens if you wake up 30 days later and you there? What happens if you wake up 60 days later and the change is coming? You know what's gonna happen? You're gonna wake up 60 days later, 90 days later, and everything's gonna change but you. And you're going to get the same results you got before it happened because you're the exact same person. So work while you wait.
I can tell bad times are right around the corner again. I can tell by the emails I'm getting talking about I can't get a break in life. I hate that damn mentality that I can't get a break. You aren't given any breaks in life. You make them for yourself. We are all being tested in life. While my test is different than yours, you will be tested. And how you face that test and how you overcome that test determines the rest of your life. The one mentality that you must have in life is that regardless of what's in front of you, you still must grind. I'll never be in the Olympics. I'll never be a professional athlete, but still I grind. I fail at most things I do, but still I grind. I don't want to do half that I do, but still I grind. And that one day, you see me down a dark alley, run at 1 o'clock in the morning, know one thing. I was grinding. Stay hard.
That it is hard. It's hard when you're young to wake up in the off season at 6 a.m. to go train and work out, knowing that all your friends are sleeping in and eating pancakes. It's hard when you're on your way to practice, way down with all your gear, and it's 90 degrees out and all the other kids are at the pool or at the beach. and your body is already completely exhausted from workouts in 2-a-days. It's hard to throw, catch, block, and tackle and hit kids when they're way bigger and way more developed than you, only to go home that night bruised and battered and strained, but knowing you have to show up again the next day for just the chance to try again. But understand this, life is hard.
How hard should you work? Well, that's a really difficult question. If you're going to die tomorrow, and then you probably shouldn't work very hard today at all. So one thing you might say is that the degree to which you should work hard is dependent on your assumptions about the stability of the future. We actually know this to be true because if you put people in wildly uncertain circumstances, they discount the future, which is exactly what you should do, right? It only makes sense to store up goods for future consumption if the future is likely to be very similar to the past and the present. You need a stable society for that, and conscientiousness only works in a stable society.
The evidence of things not seen, even though you can't see if it's 30 days, even if you can't see if it's 60 days, even if you can't see it's 90 days, even if it seems like you're going to go through this for the rest of your life, I need you to have faith. Faith, I told you, is believing in the dark what you were told in the light. And if you were told you was going to get that degree, just keep working. If you were told you were going to get that promotion, just keep working. If you were told you was going to win that championship, just keep working. Nobody said it would be easy. Again, if it was easy, everybody would do it. So I need you to work on your faith. I need you to work on your faith. I need you to wake up every day and say, today ain't the day, but my day coming. And I will not give up, and I will not give in until I get to that day. I will not stop. I will not give up. I will not give in until my day comes.
Are you going to sit around and wait for your own bolt of lightning of luck to hit you? Is that what you're going to do? I don't recommend that. Instead, I recommend that you step up and yes, you do work harder.
But it's easy to adopt the take it easy mindset and then succumb to balance. But there's no one that I know that takes it easy or has balance and lives a lifestyle of freedom. There just simply isn't. Everyone that I know sets themselves up for higher expectations. Everyone that I know who's successful and happy and fulfilled and making a massive amount of impact and income and inspiring others, they have higher standards of expectations. Everyone that I know who is doing well surrounds themselves with other hard workers, and everyone that I know is harder on themselves. And it is okay to be hard on yourself. I'm not saying like beat yourself up to the point where you just feel defeated and you feel like a piece of shit. But like, be hard on yourself, man. If you set the goal to make 10 sales calls today and the day ended and it's Friday and you only got to 7, be hard on yourself and say, you know what? I'm going to keep calling until I get to 10.
You know what pisses me off, man? The word caution here, that we need to be apologetic. I'm sorry for the construction site and how this looks. This might not be appealing to your eyes when you come to work out here. And we need to apologize for the transformation of something that one day they're going to thank you for. They're going to thank you for the great establishment here, the open space. But before that happens, we need to say under construction, it's closed. I'm sorry. It's caution. It's courageous. Because no one does it. Everyone sits by in what is. Everyone is just doing the normal. Everyone wants this to be great, but no one wants to put the work into it. So they're just a fucking wannabe. No one wants to be more than that. Because a wannabe into a wannabe more causes effort, action, to do something with your life. Causes the nails and the bolts and the tools to come out.
Our high school reunion's coming up, so we gotta lose weight. The biggest purpose in life isn't all that shit. It's how you respect yourself, how you look at yourself. That's an everyday fucking journey. So every day you should be getting after it. We look at determination, self-discipline. We look at hard work. All these terms almost like we dread them, almost like a punishment. Those are the biggest words of all time as far as respecting yourself. So look at this dread and punishment. Look at those words as a lifestyle. Stay hard.
And once you have the passion, the thing that you're passionate about now, you can look at other people or other entities or other things or works of art, and you can draw things from that to help you be better at what you do by looking for those common denominators. Johnny wanted to know, how do I prepare? How do I prepare? How do I study? How do I view the game? How do you build your game? And my response is much like the way he builds products. You think sequentially. You look at the end result of what you want to create, but in order to create that, there's so many other little things that go into this massive entity or device. It's no different than building my basketball game. You start with, what do you want your game to be? What would make your game most unstoppable or hard to deal with? And now you work backwards from there. And you start building it one piece at a time, one move at a time, one counter at a time.
Yeah, so this has been something I've been thinking about a lot, which is basically the shittiness of stuff, which is when you're growing in a business, it's very painful. When you're stagnating in a business and you're plateaued and you don't know what to do, it's very painful. When you're declining and you also don't know what to do, it's very painful. And so that means that all conditions of reality are painful. And so if pain is a prerequisite for reality, then it means
you do the best possible job that you can do, and you take some pride in what you're doing and how you're doing it, and you do it better than they could, not to rub their nose into it, not to prove that you can do it better, but out of professionalism. That's why you do it. Now, one outcome that can come from that is they get credit for your work. And that makes you all mad. No, that's actually good. Because if they get credit for your work, guess what? If work's going well, they're going to get promoted. And they get the recognition. Okay, that's fine. But they know where the actual credit goes, even if they don't give it to you.
So having this opportunity is like standing on a cliff with this gift God got for you packed on your back in a parachute pack. Now, while you're standing on this cliff, you see people soaring by, going on vacation, having a summer home, opening a business, climbing the corporate ladder, being what they've always wanted to be.
Listen to me, as a man, when somebody gives you something, it is your responsibility not only to keep it where it was, but if you true that beast, if you true that dog, everybody want to be a beast until it's time to do a real beast too. Everybody want to go to 12-0. Everybody want 15-0. You won't go to no school. You probably go to a D1 school that's barely a D1 school, and they sitting up there talking about we going to the championship. Everybody, I've never seen a team go, we number 3. Ha ha, 3, what up? We number 5. Till it was time to make a commitment. Till it was time to grind. Till it was time to get up and practice at 3 o'clock in the morning before everybody else practiced.